there are a number of reasons why more people are switching to Linux as time goes by. Some of the most common reasons include: cost. Linux is free and open source software, meaning that there is no cost to download or use it. This can be a major draw for people who are on a budget or who want to avoid paying for expensive proprietary software licenses. Flexibility. Linux is highly customizable and can be tailored to meet the specific needs of each user. This makes it a good choice for people who want to have more control over their computing experience. Security. Linux is generally considered to be more secure than other operating systems, such as Windows. This is because Linux is open source, which means that the code is constantly being scrutinized and updated by security researchers. Performance. Linux is known for being a fast and efficient operating system. This makes it a good choice for people who use their computers for demanding tasks, such as gaming, video editing, and software development. Community. Linux has a large and active community of users and developers. This means that there is a wealth of resources available to help users get started with Linux and troubleshoot any problems they may encounter. In addition to these general reasons, there are a number of specific reasons why people are switching to Linux. For example, some people switch to Linux because they are attracted to the open source philosophy. Others switch to Linux because they want to use a more secure operating system. Still others switch to Linux because they want a more customizable and flexible computing experience. Overall, there are a number of reasons why more people are switching to Linux as time goes by. Linux is a free, open source, secure, and flexible operating system that is backed by a large and active community. As a result, it is a good choice for people of all backgrounds and with a variety of needs. However, Linux is also fairly stagnant in its market share. The percentage of people using Linux constantly fluctuates every month, although it generally rises a bit, but sometimes declines as well, although the amount it grows or stagnates or declines is negligible, as not many people use Linux. There are also a number of reasons as to why people are not switching to Linux as time goes by. Some of the most common reasons include: lack of awareness. Many people are simply not aware of Linux and its benefits. They are certainly going to be more familiar with Windows or MacOS, but they may not know that there is a viable, free and open source alternative operating system available. Incompatibility with software and hardware. Some software and hardware is not compatible with Linux. This can be a major barrier for people who rely on specific software for work or school. Learning curve. Linux can be more difficult to learn than other operating systems, such as Windows. This can be intimidating for people who are not tech-savvy. Lack of support. Linux does not have the same level of support as other operating systems. This can make it difficult for users to get help if they encounter problems. Troubleshooting software issues on Linux can also be a bit of a headache, depending on the specific problem you encounter, if and when you encounter it, and fixing it might take some terminal skills, or finding multiple tutorials by people who know about the specific problem. In addition to these general reasons, there are a number of specific reasons why people may not want to switch to Linux. For example, some people may be reluctant to switch to a new operating system because they are comfortable with the one they are currently using, and generally speaking, people like to stick with what they know. Most people are happy to use Microsoft Windows or Apple's Mac OS. Others may be worried about losing their data or files when they switch, although you'd have to be an idiot to not back up your data first before switching to Linux. Always make sure you keep a copy of all your files on some external storage source, like an external hard drive. This is going to ensure you do not lose anything important or valuable. Others may not have the time, patience, or energy to learn a new operating system. It's also difficult to get people to move to Linux, as most people don't really get why or how free and open source software, including Linux, can be better than proprietary paid-for software and operating systems. As good as free stuff sounds to you and me, not everyone can understand the benefits of using free and open source software and operating systems, so this is also a contributing factor to why Linux's market share is often very slow to rise. It occasionally gets a boost here and there, but overall, it doesn't go up by much. Meanwhile, Windows and Mac OS continue to grow in popularity, especially with all the so-called features Microsoft and Apple pack into their systems, which actually make them worse overall, as you have to deal with closed-source bloated systems full of backdoors and spyware. Microsoft have plans on making Windows a subscription-based OS, but honestly, this is no surprise to me, as I saw this coming well before now. It was obvious when they made Microsoft Office subscription-based that Windows was inevitably going to follow suit, and Microsoft's other services and products that are not subscription-based will also most likely follow suit too. So switching to Linux can offer a lot of nice things you wouldn't otherwise have with proprietary systems. However, you also lose access to a big number of big-name software and video games, as the overall software support on Linux is far less than that on Windows, or even Mac OS. However, with the continual rise of people migrating to Linux, it is more likely to get more software support from major developers in the future. A lot of free and open source applications for Windows and Mac OS often support Linux, but this is not always the case, and it's not often you see paid for software on Linux, but this is mainly due to the nature of Linux being free and open source, and as a result, you have to trade some software, if not all of it, for free and open source software. Overall, there are a number of reasons why people are not switching to Linux as time goes by. However, it is important to note that Linux is becoming increasingly popular, especially among developers and other tech-savvy users. As Linux becomes more user-friendly and more software and hardware becomes compatible with it, it is likely that more people will switch to Linux in the future. It is also likely that people who have older hardware or lower-end hardware could look into using Linux, as it is very friendly with older or lower-end hardware, due to the fact that it uses far less resources than Windows, and there are many lightweight flavors out there, including Linux Lite, Linux Mint XFCE Edition, Xubuntu, Peppermint OS, etc. So if you want to give your old PC or laptop some new life, or repurpose it, then perhaps chuck a lightweight Linux distribution on there, and see how well it revives it. Here are some things that the people in the Linux community can do to make it easier for people to switch to Linux. Increase awareness. The Linux community needs to do a better job of educating people about Linux and its benefits. This can be done through public awareness campaigns, educational resources, and word of mouth. Improve compatibility. The Linux community needs to work with software and hardware developers to improve compatibility with Linux. This will make it easier for people to switch to Linux without having to give up the software and hardware they rely on. Make Linux more user-friendly. The Linux community needs to make Linux easier to learn and use. This can be done by developing more user-friendly desktop environments and applications, and by providing better documentation and support resources. By addressing these challenges, the Linux community can make it easier for people to switch to Linux and enjoy the benefits that it has to offer. Alrighty, that's it for this video, folks. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.